Hey everyone, this is Leanne from Of Love and Shiplap and the founder of Sublimation graphics and tutorials. Please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss out on any new videos. Today's tutorial is on how to sublimate a 10-ounce short tumbler or lowball tumbler. I received this item as part of the Sublimation trend box from Johnson's Plastics Plus, which is a quarterly trend box featuring 8 or so full-size items that you are able to try out for your business. I think that the subscription trend box is a great way to get a feel for the new products that are on the market and continue to come onto the market and test out their potential for your sublimation business. The tumblers are your traditional double wall aluminum insulated tumbler, so they are going to keep your beverage hot or cold for up to 12 hours. I love the idea of these short tumblers for the summer months, spring, summer, and fall, I guess, where you can be enjoying those cocktails and mocktails or beer or wine out by a campfire or out at the park, even at the beach with your friends. I think that that's a great selling point as we move into that season for you with this business. We're going to go ahead and get our measurements and set up our design in Affinity Designer and talk a little bit more about potential ideas for this product. Let's go ahead and turn things around to get started. Here's a look at our 10-ounce stainless steel tumbler from Johnson's Plastics Plus. Got a nice little lid on there. We can actually set that aside since we won't need that while we're sublimating. What I love about this is we actually have a nice flat surface right until it starts to round right here. And you can see that light hitting that line just on the camera. You always want to make sure that your design is in between those ridges because your paper is not going to wrap around this and successfully print or successfully transfer. So we're going to go ahead and get our measurements for this. Something like this is great full bleed, which I think is what I'm going to do with it. So we've got 4 inches from the top lip right to that line. And then (11 inches for our circumference. So our design is going to be 11 inches wide by 4 inches tall. We're going to go ahead and set our design up in Affinity Designer. So let's pop over the computer and get that going. We are going to be setting up our design for print in Affinity Designer version 2. I'm working on a Windows device, but whether you're using version 1 or the Mac version, you're going to follow the same steps. Your studio may look a little bit different from mine because my studio layout has been customized for my personal preferences. We can go ahead and get started by opening up a new document. We'll come to File and then New or New Document, and we want to start by opening up a page that is the size we intend on printing on in the orientation that we will be printing. Because the measurements of our 10-ounce aluminum tumbler was 11 inches in the width or the circumference by 4 inches in the height, a standard letter size page is not going to work. I'm going to go ahead and opt for the 11 by 17 ledger page size for this project. I'm going to be using my Epson SureColor F570 sublimation printer, and this feeds in individual sheets in portrait mode, so I want to have that selected as well. This little process is something I highly recommend to avoid any errors on printing. We do frequently see people who have issues with the way things are set up and the way that they print not matching. This ensures that it's perfect every single time. We want to make sure to come to our color tab and set our color format to RGB/8 if you are printing for sublimation. All other types of printing use CMYK. Sublimation is the exception to the rule. The most current color profile for RGB/8 is this one that you see here, the sRGB IEC, followed by these numbers. If you are using a Mac computer, however, you may find better color accuracy by using the Adobe RGB 1998 profile. This is the older profile, and for Mac computers specifically, it does seem to work better with any aftermarket printer. Aftermarket printers and inks do sometimes require a little finessing with your settings, and that of course is one of the perks of the Epson F570 Pro printer. You don't have to worry about making any additional color corrections or various settings because it is ready to go out of the box and prints beautifully every single time. Now, I always like to have my document with a transparent background, and I don't need this margin line, so I'm going to deselect that. If you are using version 1 of Affinity Designer, your document setup panel will look a little bit different. These tabs are located over on the right side of the screen, and instead of a list, as you see here, you'll see tiled icons through the middle. It should be fairly easy for you to navigate and follow along nonetheless. When you have all of your settings ready, click Create. Next, we want to import our graphic. We can do this by selecting the Place Image tool, which is about halfway down on your tool panel and looks like a photograph. If you hover over it, it should say Place Image tool. I am going to be using a design that's not available for purchase, but I did make it special for a friend of mine. And as you can see, it's just has her name on it and it is personalized. I already have sized this accordingly, so thankfully I didn't have to do anything extra, but if you do need to resize something, you will come to your transform panel and set your measurements accordingly. I just want to zoom in and make sure that this looks good. It does. I'm pretty happy with it, and I personally like to center things on my page whenever possible. But in this case, I'm going to put it a little bit closer to the top so I can salvage the bottom of my page and be able to use it for nozzle check paper or just in general scrap paper. When we are ready to print, all you have to do is come to File and then select Print. You will choose your printer from the drop-down menu. In this case, I am choosing my Epson SureColor F570 Pro printer from Johnson's Plastics Plus. And then you're going to click on Properties. This is where you will make any adjustments to your page size, where your paper is coming from in this case, but if you're using an aftermarket printer, that's where you would also set your color correction settings and be able to save them. Prior to this, we did have the Epson Workforce 7710, so you can go ahead and check out some of our older tutorials if you're just curious about where those settings are. But ICC profile settings, color correction settings for aftermarket printers are all going to be done right there when you click on that Properties tab and you get this printer dialog box up. With the Epson SureColor F570 printer for sublimation, we don't have to do any color correction. Again, this is one of my favorite features of this. We do want to come over here and just make some adjustments. So first of all, our document size is not correct. There we go. We want our USB 11 by 17. Make sure that our paper sizes do, of course, match and everything. Avoid doing something where you have your document size as one size and your output size as a different size, because you can end up with your transfer printing larger or smaller depending on what you've got going on. And again, this is just one of those things that creates some headaches. So just making sure that you have everything set from the start ensures you're going to get accuracy in your printing no matter what printer you're using. With this printer, there's the option to have a roll paper and print and cut, or you can choose the auto sheet feeder, which is what I'm using today. I do have 11 by 17 set, and I want to make sure that I've chosen the general purpose rigid for hard substrates as my media type. This is going to help control any special print settings that would be recommended by the manufacturer of the printer for hard substrates. So again, it takes so much of the guesswork out of printing. It's really nice to just be able to print and go. I feel like my workflow has improved so much since getting this printer, and that alone is worth every penny. Underneath the layout tab, you can find mirror image, and we do want this to be mirrored. This is the default setting, but it never hurts to double check. If you prefer to have a print preview, you can select that. I don't personally ever need that, so I never select it. And then I'll just go ahead and hit OK and OK again to send this off to print. Let's go ahead and grab that from the printer and get our tumbler together. All right, we have our transfer printed on the Epson SureColor F570 printer for sublimation. I'm using printer jack paper, the blue formula. It's a little hard to catch it on the camera, but you can see blue side versus white side. I am a big fan of the printer jack sublimation paper. It's available on Amazon. It works great in this printer and with most other printers as well. So we want to go ahead and cut out our transfer. You can do this with scissors or on a paper cutter, which is actually what I'm going to do here. A little off camera for the moment. One of the reasons why I enjoy full bleed designs for something like this is because it does make it a little bit easier to cut everything out and have it be accurate. If you're looking for a good rotary paper cutter, I have linked this one in the video description. I have a few different ones that you guys see me use. Kind of just depends on what I got going on. So we'll go ahead and wrap this around our 10-ounce tumbler. I decided to size it so that it didn't go into the bottom area, just for aesthetic purposes. So I'm gonna bring this all the way around. Make sure we are nice and snug. We are. And anytime you're doing any kind of tumbler, you want to have just the tiniest bit of overlap. Like they should just, the pages should like just kiss. They should have a tiny bit of overlap instead of meeting, because if they meet, you're more likely to get a little fine white line. But if you have them just overlap the tiniest bit, they should have a pretty seamless look, depending on your design, of course. All right. I think that's pretty good. My method for getting transfers like this tight is to always hold the one side first once I've got it relatively straight, and then sort of pull that taut and push it right over. Hold it with my thumb. Go ahead and apply some heat tape to secure it. Because I'm doing a full wrap on this, I am going to go ahead and use my convection toaster oven. This is my preferred. I don't have a tumbler press, but I do have different attachments, and I'm pretty sure that this would fit inside either the coffee mug attachment of the mug press or the 20-ounce mug attachment that I have. So either of those would have been a good option as well. It would have required multiple presses, but that's okay. I may order another one just to test that out so that I can have a second video on how to do these. If you are using a convection oven, you're going to also need some shrink wrap. I'm using 30-ounce shrink wrap, and as you can see, it's a bit bigger than I need. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it in half so as not to waste. And then just slide on the other one. Anytime I'm using shrink wrap, a little trick to get it to go on is to open it up and then run your fingernail on the seams. This makes it so much easier to just slide it right on. Then we just need to apply a little bit of heat. I have this low heat heat gun here that's available on Amazon for just a couple of dollars. It is linked in the video description. Anytime I apply shrink wrap to the tumblers, I always make sure that I do the top and bottom first and then do the middle. I find that it just works better. And the only thing you need to watch out for is just double check that none of your paper is crinkled up around the ends of it, because that's going to lead to like a warbling effect when you go to transfer it. So we're going to go ahead and put this in our toaster oven, and I am going to use the same time and temp range that I normally use for a 20-ounce skinny tumbler, we're just going to go a little bit less. So instead of doing 8 minutes, I'm going to do 6 minutes at 400 degrees. This is a Black & Decker convection toaster oven. Any toaster oven that you use does need to be convection to use it for sublimation. So we're going to go ahead and put this in here, and then we'll come back when it is completely sublimated. And I'm going to set it on its side because of the size that it is. So we'll let that bake, and then we'll come back to peel it when it's nice and cool. Our 10-ounce Lowball tumbler is completely cooled, so we can go ahead and peel it. I do personally prefer to peel when it's cold because I feel like the shrink wrap just comes off so much easier. I know that there's been some people who have spread the idea that you should like put these in cold water and things like that. Definitely don't do that. That's not necessary. These actually don't take very long to cool. My shrink wrap's giving me a little issue here. There we go. I always let mine cool on these little silicone mats. These are from Walmart. They're in the dish rack section. And honestly, they are perfect for letting your tumblers cool. My tape on the inside's not cooperating, but that's all right. There we go. Okay. So there's our tumbler, all sublimated. Came out perfect. I know trying something new is always a little stressful. Sometimes you're not really sure if the time and temp will work quite right, but all I did was 1 minute less than I normally do a 20-ounce tumbler for in my convection toaster oven, and it worked perfectly. So these are available for $7.50 on the Johnson's Plastics Plus website. The link is in the video description, and we also have a group discount code that you can use. It is 9P sub TH, and that will actually save you 15%. An item like this can easily retail for around $30 when you do personalization. You could probably get at least $20 for something that's a bit more generic, but you can always elevate the price of your product by doing something that is specific to a certain theme, whether we're talking about wedding parties, graduation, different types of careers, doctors, nurses, military in particular, also firefighters, paramedics, first responders, linemen, like all of those type of civil service oriented careers. People love to buy stuff with their logos on it. And then you can always do something that's more like this. So this particular design pattern is one that I use for my author business, and that I print on bookmarks and book covers and things like that that people order. So I went ahead and used that for this so I can gift it to a friend. So there you have it. That is the 10-ounce sublimation tumbler from Johnson's Plastics Plus. Very easy to sublimate, absolutely beautiful. Will keep your drinks hot or cold, perfect for the summer months. It does not come with a straw, no straw, just this great little spout. I know that these will be a great seller for the summer months coming for sure. And again, I definitely recommend catering to those different markets like weddings and graduations and things like that that are coming in the current season. This is, of course, also a product you can make into a gift set, just another way to elevate your overall product and increase that sales volume and profit for your business. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and also check out the links in the video description.